Good evening, everyone. I came back to Israel as a friend and to have candid conversations as friends do. We focused on the hostage negotiations, as I did as well in my conversations with Egyptian colleagues and the Qatari Foreign Minister yesterday. I also had a chance to meet with the hostage families again, and it's hard to describe what they're going through every single day. We've made progress in the last couple of weeks on the hostage negotiations, closing gaps, but almost by definition, when you get down to the last items, they tend to be the hardest. So there's still a lot of work to be done, hard work to be done, but we're determined to try to get it done. We also talked about the imperative of surging and sustaining humanitarian assistance for the people in Gaza. 100% of the population of Gaza is acutely food insecure. 100% is in need of humanitarian assistance. There have been some positive steps taken in recent days to improve the situation, but it's not enough. And we talked about what needs to happen to get much more assistance to many more people more effectively. We also talked about Rafah. We share Israel's goal of defeating Hamas, which is responsible for the worst massacre of the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And we share the goal of ensuring Israel's long-term security. As we've said, though, a major military ground operation in Rafah is not the way to do it. It risks killing more civilians. It risks wreaking greater havoc with the provision of humanitarian assistance. It risks further isolating Israel around the world and jeopardizing its long-term security and standing. So we're looking forward to having Israeli officials in Washington next week to talk about a different way of achieving these objectives that we share, of defeating Hamas and ensuring Israel's long-term security. It really requires an integrated humanitarian, military, and political plan. As I said, we'll be talking about that next week, going through the details of what we see as the best way forward. We also had an opportunity to talk about the longer-term trajectory, what needs to happen once the conflict in Gaza is over. Conversations that I had with our Arab partners over the last couple of days and that we had here in Israel as well. We're determined that Israel succeed in making sure it can defend itself, that October 7th never happens again, that it emerged from this strong, secure, integrated in the region, with a future of security and peace, not only for Israelis, but for Palestinians and for our other friends in the region. And we believe there's a path forward to do that. We'll be continuing to work to flesh out that path and to try to walk down it in the days and weeks ahead. So on the negotiations, I can't give you any more details other than to say that we're intensely engaged in them, working with the Qataris, working with the Egyptians, working with Israel. And we have teams in Doha. And as I said, we've gotten it down to a few remaining gaps, but the closer you get to the goal line, the harder that last yard is. So there are some hard issues to work through, but we're determined to do everything we can to get there and to get people home. The negotiators will be working intensely to see if we can get that done. I hadn't seen the news you referred to, but look, you know our views on settlement expansion. You know our views on everything from demolitions to evictions to other steps, unilateral steps that are taken that make the already challenging prospect of two states even more distant. So I haven't seen the specifics of this, but anyone taking steps that makes things more difficult, more challenging this time, is something that we would have a problem with.
Tiny clarification, when you say we have teams, you mean U.S. has teams on the ground in Doha today, and can you just confirm the negotiations have begun, like they've been continuing this?
I can't, it should be going forward, if not immediately now, certainly in the hours ahead.
Michael, John?
So on the resolution, which got very strong support but then was cynically vetoed by Russia and China. I think we were trying to show the international community's sense of urgency about getting a ceasefire tied to the release of hostages, something that everyone, including the countries that vetoed the resolution, should have been able to get behind. The resolution, of course, also condemned Hamas. It's unimaginable why countries wouldn't be able to do that. But I think the fact that we got such a strong vote despite the veto by two of the permanent members of the Security Council, again, is evidence and demonstration of the commitment, the conviction of countries around the world, notably on the Security Council, to see about getting the ceasefire, getting the release of hostages now. That's what the resolution said. That's what it called for. And I think it showed that a strong commitment to that from many, many countries. With regard to the conversations we had, look, this is an ongoing process. As I said, we really were focused on three things: the hostage negotiations, humanitarian assistance, and Rafah. And it was important that, again, we focus on all three things. I'm not going to get into the details of what we discussed, but I think from my perspective at least, these were important, candid conversations to have at a critical time on all three of those issues. Thanks.